part of Detroit Street Films is an adjunct little entity which we call Station House Reading Series. We used to meet for 6 years in an actual fire station in Hollywood.
Interior bar, noon. A bar in the theater district called the Show Spot. Seated at the end of the bar wearing a heavy sweater is the owner, Jimmy Kelly. The bartender, called the Deacon, is getting ready for opening.
Jimmy, you picked the right time to go away.
But since the pandemic hit, we do a Zoom meeting every Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. And we read scripts and determine what we're going to develop and workshop and then eventually shoot, usually short films. So every week at our meetings, we conduct a group poem. Bjorn actually conducts it, and he'll start out by telling us whether it's a theme or a title, and then we vote on that. When we have an agreed upon title or theme, each of us write one line.
Right, and the lines are written during the course of the evening, and they all send them privately to me.
Then during the night, as the lines are submitted to Bjorn privately, he puts it together. He orchestrates the whole where the lines are placed, and he does a brilliant job of that. And so at the end of the night, once he's accumulated all of the lines, he'll and sort of arrange them in a certain order. He'll read it, usually twice.
Blackness in my heart and life. Sometimes you need to go deep to discover your truth. Shadows traveling through the wind created by Satan's breath.
Then we encourage people to make these short films, and the mandate is that they have to do it with no money.
How these films came to be was that we did our collective poem as usual. This particular poem that was the subject that evening was actually composed from a title that was an amalgamation of two titles that tied for best title of the evening that we sewed together into Dogs at the Beach. And Kevin McCorkle, one of our long-term participants, piped up and said, we should make these into movies. This should be a movie. Someone should shoot this. This is actually what I think he said. So Gareth ended up going in and shooting that film.
It's heartening to watch the dogs jumping into the fountain, clearing the waves in pursuit of nothing but joy, running with no destination.
That was the very beginning of it, and I have to say, looking back, I'm proud of it. And that was my point before about like just start, just start, because it's very primitive. I shot a lot of stuff that was vertical and stuff I wouldn't do now. I didn't know. I just dove in and did the best I could.
Right. Just
don't find every excuse to not start.
Yeah.
And these poem videos are brilliant in that regard because there's zero budget. There's a low pressure. I think you were mentioning before. What did you say about?
Oh, I said there's low pressure on the directors because they didn't write it. It was written by the group, and so the directors tend to be approaching these projects as a service, of doing a service, of letting this poem that they like, that touched them somehow, that moved them or amused them, and it aroused them creatively in some fashion, to become a film. And the excitement that is generated by that when another director brings another film back to the group, the listening that happens there is really spectacular. Also, I'd like to say that making these films underlines the collective nature of this creative process. How people say time and time again, wow, when I hear that poem now, I don't even know what my line was.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like, oh, this is my line. Oh, that was my suggestion. It's more like really everyone standing shoulder to shoulder and having this creative collective experience. If I'm not in Los Angeles and I don't personally know you, but I'm so excited about what I'm seeing that I want to participate, how do I get that email?
That's a good question. Like, how do I do I put?
I don't think you really want to put your own email on this thing.
No, but we have a Detroit Street Films. Detroit Street Films at gmail.com. Street is ST. DetroitStreetFilms at gmail.com. Detroit Street Films. Street is abbreviated.
I thought it was Detroit's
Films. We have a YouTube channel which has all of our films. The YouTube channel is Detroit, like the city spelled out, Detroit, underscore, street spelled out, Street, underscore, films spelled out, Films. Detroit underscore street underscore films. And
Check
you'll
it out.
find us.
Share, like.
How can this be integrated into everyday life? Woof! Swoosh! Woof, woof! Swoosh!